just wanted to say that sorry for interrupting. That
Your voice,
yeah,
your voice.
yeah. Can you hear me now? Am I
Uh,
audible?
if you can raise your voice a bit, that would be helpful.
Am I audible now?
Yes, I will do my best.
Okay, I was saying that we wanted to inform everyone that we are recording this session, just so you are not taking a rest, and we would also share the recording with you after the session. Did you hear
Oh,
me?
yes, I think you are saying that you are recording the section. After that, you share it, right?
Yes, that we just wanted to inform everyone that we started recording this session, you know, and we would share it with everyone via email afterwards.
That is okay. All right. So thank you. So now let's come to the language. Whether you are going to learn A1 or A2 or B1 or B2 or C1 or C2, you have to start from somewhere. And then you and I know that if you want to do something and the foundation is not good, it means that when you start moving forward, you have challenges. So, in learning this language, the A1 class is very, very important. I'm not saying that the remaining classes or levels are not important, but if you can make it to A2 class or to the upper class, then you need to take the A1 class serious. And of course, what I'm going to share right now to you, you have to take them very, very serious. So if you don't do this, that is where you start saying that the language is difficult. So let me share the screen, then I'll take you one after the other, and then I'll open the floor for questions. All right, so as you can see, the basic tips and patterns. I hope you can see the screen clearly. Can you see?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay. So, as I explained earlier, learning German is often perceived as difficult, and I explained that one earlier. But is this really the case? is this really the case? So the answer is that one of the things that can help you learn this language is that you should have in your mind that it is a systematic language. German is what? It is a systematic language that follows what? Rules. So you can't learn this language if you don't want to go by the rules. But of course, I'm here to help you with some tips that can make these rules easier for you to learn. So one of the tips is that you have to approach the language step by step. You have to approach the language step by step. So if I say step by step, you may ask me, what do I mean by that? For instance, step one is to learn the alphabet. So if we teach you the alphabet, of course, the first day, the second day, you cannot master it because some people, they find it difficult to master a new language. But for some, from the day one, they will master the alphabet. So that is step one. So from the alphabet, we may tell you that we have some combinations of what? Of some letters. If you combine them, this is the sound. So from there, then you can read a word. So if you fail the step one, that is mastering the alphabet or knowing how to pronounce them, then it's going to be very difficult for you to read or to speak or even to write. So you have to approach the language step by step. Now, one of the things that we have to notice is that German, and then that is why I asked someone if the person speak French. If you speak French, it will help you to master German very fast because some of the French alphabet and then the German alphabet, they sound the same. So if you have French background, it will help you because I personally I speak French. But if you don't, it doesn't mean that you cannot make it. You still make it. So I just want to do comparison between English and then German language by looking at the spellings and then the capital letters. So one, capital letters for nouns in German. So if whether in A1 or to the whatever level you get to, you have to know that in German, all the nouns, you always have to start it with a capital letter. Meanwhile, in English, it's not like this. That is why I said I'm trying to compare English to what? To German. In English, it's only the proper nouns that you can write with a capital letter, whether at the beginning of the sentence or at the middle or whatever you find the noun. But in German, it's not like that. Whether it's a proper noun, it's a noun of a thing, concept, whatever it is, wherever you find a noun, please write it with a capital letter. That is, you are starting the noun with a capital letter. Don't go and say somewhere that I have said you should write the noun in a capital letters, whereby you write the noun in all the capital letters. That is not what I'm trying to say. I hope I'm clear. Now, I have an example here so that though you have not started learning the language, but I will explain. I have the translation for you to understand. So if you can see, uh, so I have an example here. Der Mann und die Frau arbeiten jeden Tag am Computer. So this is a sentence in German. So when you look at the sentence closely, you see that man is written with what? A capital M. Frau, the same thing. Tag, the same thing. Computer, the same thing. Now, if you look at the English translation, the English is saying the man and the woman work at their computer every day. We have so many ways of translating this. So if you're a translator here, you have your way to translate this so that it will be meaningful. So the man and the woman work at their computer every day. So when you look at the English sentence, you see that man that start with capital M in German, in English is not like that. Frau, which is the woman or the Frau, if you see the woman in English sentence, it's not like that. And then Tag, which is day, in German it starts with capital T, but yes, Kamara, you want to talk?
Okay, yes, I don't know if it is my network, but I'm not seeing anything on the screen. It's just um, you guys. I don't know if you've shared any material, but I'm not seeing anything on the screen.
You are not seeing anything on the screen.
Yes.
Please, is someone having the same issue? I want someone to confirm so that we know what to do.
I said I think you should join and rejoin again. We are seeing something. We're not having this issue.
Okay, all right, thank you. So Tag, which is day in English, you see that in German it starts with capital T, but in English it's never the same. So capital letters in Germans are very, very important. So you don't just write it anyhow. So that you tell yourself that how come day is written in German by using a capital letter at the beginning. That is the rule. And I find it easier in German than in English because in German, all the nouns, whether it's a table, a door, a woman, whatever it is, it as far as you know that it is a noun, start writing it with what? A capital letter. Now, we have the pronoun I. I in English, we never write it with small letter. whether you are beginning the sentence or at the middle, it is always written with capital letter, that is I. But in German, it's not like that. So if you are English speaker trying to learn German, you always be making this mistake. But I believe from today you will not do that again. So that is ich or ich. You you'll be forced to be writing it with capital I. You can only write it if you are starting the sentence. But if you start the sentence in German with something else, don't ever write it with capital I. So it's written with what? Small I. Now we have one of the pronoun also, which is Z. I think let me just type it in the chat. Z, capital S, I, E. So we pronounce it what? Z. Now, this particular pronoun, it gives problem to students, especially when you are in a beginner class. So the capital Z is referred to in English as you. So this you, what type of you it is? It is formal you. So if you speak French, you see that if you want to address someone in French, you go by the formal way or informal way. So they have the pronoun tu and then the pronoun vous. So in German, they do the same thing. So they have the formal way of addressing someone and then the informal way. So the formal way, we use the pronoun you, which is Z, written with capital S. So this Z, whether you are beginning the sentence or it is at the middle of the sentence somewhere or at the end, you always have to write it with capital S. So maybe if we start the class, I can go into detail. The Z, which is the you, it can be you formal singular or you formal plural. So maybe if you are learning your own, don't get confused. Now, we move to point 2, which is the different characters. In German, we have 26 letters in the alphabet as the way we have it in English. So you see the same thing in German, 26 letters. So if you start the class, then you get to know them. Now, aside the 26 letters, they have 4 additional characters. And then these characters, we don't have them in what? In English. So as a beginner, you'll be forcing yourself to know these 4 additional characters in English. What is the equivalent? We don't have it. Pardon? Okay, it's not here. Now, one of them is S set, or in some of the books, they call it Schaffers S. So when you look at it closely, um, Good. This is it. If you look at it closely, it looks like B in English, but it is not B. And then some writers try to find a name for it in English by calling it the sharp S, the sharp S. But in German, it is pronounced S set or sharpest S. And then the sound for that letter that you are seeing looks like B or maybe 13. The sound is S sound. As you have maybe in English, we say sun. So we have S-U-N. So the S, so that is the sound. Now, maybe I don't want you to be confused. In the modern books that they are writing these days, they use double S to replace this sharpest S. So if you are reading and then you see a word written with the sharpest S, know that the sound is what? Is S sound. So we have, for instance, Hysen. If you can see on the screen, Hysen. So as a beginner, you struggle to write it, but you can just write like maybe B, and then the down, don't close it. So when you start learning, you get to know, or maybe you write something like 13, but you don't close the down. So this sharpest S is used after the combinations of some letters or one letter. So you can see it after EI or IE, or you can see it after A or O or U. Yeah, of course, you are not in German class today, so I don't want to pronounce them in German so that you get confused. So I'm using English. So for instance, you have Heisen to be called. So as a beginner, this is what you learn first by saying Ich heiße Kofi Ama. And then you can see it in another word, Strasse. Strasse. So don't go and say Strabe. It's not B. It's never B. You can see it in gross. To be big, big, gross. So if you want to make this language useful, then take this very serious. Charity, I think it might be your network. Can you hear me now? Are you okay now? Yes. If your network is not stable, you find it difficult. So now, so the S set or the sharpest S is one of the four additional letters. And then we move to the three additional letters that we call the umlauts. The umlaut, the dot, you see the dot on it. That is why two dots. That is why I said earlier that these four additional letters, we don't have them in English, whereby you go and be forcing yourself, I want to know the equivalent. Maybe in other languages, Chinese, maybe they have. In French, we have some of them. So The first one, which is the A umlaut, but the sound is E, right? And then we have O umlaut, the dot, the two dot on it. The sound is what? E. And then we have the U umlaut, and the sound is what? U. So this is where French people they have advantage if you have French background. So we hello. Kamara, you are saying you can still see the screen. So log out and log in, and then make sure that uh, your internet is stable, please. So you can log out and rejoin again. Thank you. Now we use these umlauts and these three additional letters mostly to change the pronunciation of a word, or more importantly, the meaning or its meaning. So I have just few example here. We have muta. We have what? Muta. So muta means mother, right? And then if you put the umlaut on the top of uh, the u, right? Then the sound will change. So it changed to what? U. So here you will not say muta again, but you have to say muta. You have to say what? Muta. Muta. So the meaning here has changed. So here it means what? Mothers. So if you fail to know how to pronounce this, when we start learning the alphabet, you are going to face challenges on the way. And then we have another word, geste. Geste, which simply means guests. So geste, don't go and read it gas something gaste, or I don't know how you are going to read it. And then we have another one, two, two, door. So not two. Uh, excuse me to say this. Those who speak Twi, me, I'm not good in Twi. So those who speak Twi sometimes they find it difficult to pronounce this. And then, but if you speak French, you'll find it easier. Uh, because we have that sound in French, which is U. So you say tu, tu, tu. Okay. Now, um, point point three, we'll look at the gender. Please pay attention here, because this is one of the things that is making the language difficult for people to learn. The gender in German language is similar in French. In French too, we have the same thing. So if you have French, you don't have that. But Spanish, I don't speak Spanish. Portuguese, so I don't know how it is in that language. Now, in German, we have three genders. We have what? We have genders. And then, so these genders, we use them to refer to what? Nouns in German, right? So the noun will either be masculine or neuter or feminine. And of course, we have their plural, but that is not the subject for the day. So we have what? The noun or the gender can be masculine, feminine, or neuter. So if the noun is masculine, I'm typing in the chat because I'll not go and use the board again. Um, so if the noun is a masculine noun, we use the definite article there to we use it plus the noun. Then it means that noun is singular masculine noun. And then if it is feminine, you use D. Don't ever say die. It's not die, it's D. So if you use D plus a noun, it means that noun is what? Is feminine singular noun in what? In German. And then you use what? Das. I'm putting in the chat, so if you open the chat, you see. So you use das plus a noun, it means that noun is what? New. It is a neuter noun. It simply means that noun is not a masculine noun, it is not a feminine noun. These are the so as a beginner, you are going to struggle with this gender, and it will depend on the teacher who is going to teach you. Because when the teacher teach you, maybe the teacher is also good, but it's you, the student, who failed to listen to him. Then you have problem throughout, from beginner to
Oh
the
yes,
upper class. Yes,
camera in your
yes.
camera and the
Oh, is someone? If you want to talk, please raise your hands. Or yeah. So now I use a word saying neuter. So you can see on the screens neuter. This word neuter is different from neutral. So on your own, Google neuter and then neutral and get to know the meaning. Don't go and say somewhere the teacher has said that we have a gender called neutral. It is not neutral. Those who are into science, and then me, I'm not good in science, into science, and then what do you call it, nurses and those things, go and find out, you get to understand it better. So we use neuter, which is das. So one of the things you have to know in German is that the gender in German is not biological, but it is grammatical. It is not what? It is not biological, but it is grammatical. I will explain. The reason why I'm saying it is grammatical is that in English, biologically, you look at a man or woman, then you say it is a male or it is a female. That is biologically. And then we classify concept, object, things as what? As neuter. So we replace it by it. But in German, even human being is neuter. That is not, I'm not saying the whole human being, I'm just referring to, so I'll give you the example. For instance, medicine. which is a girl, they classify it as what? As neuter. So that is the gender for it. So that's medicine. And then you have, for instance, baby. They classify it as what? Neuter. So here they are not using the biological. German is not basing in the biological terms to be able to identify the gender of a noun. So they are using grammatical terms or grammatically. So this means that you either have to learn it or you refuse not to learn it. And I'm not saying this because maybe I want to push you away so that after this you tell yourself, oh, if that's the case, then let me go to Canada, let me go to what do you call it, US. But I can promise that if you learn this language well, Germany is one of the best country in Europe. Their product or whatever they do is very quality. Of course, when we start the class, as I said, you approach the language step by step. So you get to know more about these gender things I'm talking about. So I have some example here. I have given some already, but I can still give. So we have their tisch, which is the table, right? So we agree that when you see there plus what do you call it, a noun, it means that noun is masculine singular. So a student will ask me that why is it that they have classified the table as what do you call it, masculine? There is no reason to this, because that is how they decide to classify the noun as gender. Now, if you speak French, their tisch, which is the table in English, the French is saying that the table is feminine in French, so la table. So imagine if you speak French and then you speak German and then English at the same time. If you don't know, you mix up the articles. So Tish is not a human being. So you can't say biologically it's masculine. No, it doesn't happen that way. And now we have another example, Ditu. Ditu, which is the door. They classify the door as feminine. So don't go and be asking yourself why it is like that. Right? Yes. If I start teaching in the class, I have a way of cracking certain joke by telling you that, oh, their teach is masculine because you see we have a man biologically is masculine, right, or a male. So when they cook for them and then they prefer they put the food on the table for them, then they sit there and then they are the orga. But that is not something that is written in a book anywhere. So I just crack a joke. Then we have das Fenster, the window. So they classify the window as what? As neuter. They classify the window as neuter. And then Frau, the Frau, feminine. Der Mann, which is can be husband or a man, masculine. Now, one of the biggest questions student asks is that how do we learn this? Hmm? How do we learn this? So I'm going to tell you right now. If you want to make it, how do we learn this? So to be familiar with the articles or the gender of the noun, anytime you learn a noun, whether it's a single noun or two nouns, make sure you learn it with its article by checking in a good dictionary, not Google Translator. Professionally, I am a translator. So we do not advise you to go and use Google Translator and then you put inside. Sometimes a single word that Google Translator will be able to tell. Okay, Solomon, thank you. So the Google Translator will not help you, or student will go and download some app. They said something translator. It will never help you in learning this language. Not only for English, German, but any other language you want to learn. So as a good language learner, purchase a hard copy dictionary, either small one or big one. If those who are my students, if you come to the class or the school here, you see a dictionary, uh, big like this. So you can't be a language learner then you only base on soft copy dictionaries. So buy the dictionary. You are in your car going to work or whatever, you see a noun, you want to check in the dictionary. And then sometimes to students, they don't know how to use the dictionary. So if you have such challenge, you just ask them to be able to help you out. And then there are some of the soft copy dictionary that are also good. So you can also use them. You check, and then either they'll write in front of the noun, das, or they'll write the, or they'll write there, or sometimes they write m, which means that noun is feminine. Sometimes they'll write M, it means it's masculine. Sometimes they'll write N, it means neuter. So it depends on the dictionary you are using. So to master the gender, you have to learn it with what? Its article from the beginning. Of course, we have some tips, other tips that can help you. When you see the noun, the endings of the noun will tell you that this noun is a masculine or is a feminine or is a neuter noun, but not for a beginner class. If you ask me, I will never teach you, because if you do that in a beginner class, you always be guessing. You see the word and you say, okay, the word it end with UND. So the rule is saying that it is a feminine noun. No, in A1 class, you will not get this. Maybe on your own, you can learn it on the net. Now, point 4, there are important endings that apply to some grammatical points in German. So we call it endings. So these apply to what? Verbs. It applies to articles, whether definite or indefinite articles. It's applied to possessive adjectives and then adjectives. I know you'll be asking what is definite. Even in English, sometimes I ask the student what is definite and indefinite article. They don't know. So if your English too is not that good, sometimes we find it difficult to even know how to, because I can't use tree to explain to you. But if you speak maybe French, I can use French to explain to you. And then possessive adjectives. When you start the class, you get to know. But know that verbs in German, articles, possessive adjectives, and adjectives, they takes endings. And then we have a way of learning this so that you will not find it difficult. And then, so For instance, we take the verbs. So if you take the verbs, when I said it takes ending, what I mean is that if you take, for instance, the verb to go in English, it's only the third person singular that you use he or she, then you add something to it by saying she goes. You add es. And then English also do that. They have a reason for it. If you are in English class, you get to know. So in present tense, you say I go, you go. You we go, you go. So everywhere go, go, go. But in German, the verbs is not like that. So for instance, the German gehen, okay, maybe Mr. Solomon will type that in the gehen, the verb gehen for you. So gehen, will say ich gehe, right? Ich gehe. So it could mean I am going or I go, right? So let me just say I go. And then er geht, he goes. But when you get to z, they will say sie gehen. So look at this, the three, and see whether the endings are the same. They are never the same. Though we have some patterns that can help you when you are dealing with regular verbs or you are dealing with irregular verbs. We have some tips that can help you. And then the possessive adjectives, or let me say the articles. So the articles, it can either be definite or indefinite article. So I'm using only one, which is or an. Or an. So in German, we refer to it as what? Ein. So it depends on the noun you are using the indefinite article with. So if you are using it with a singular masculine noun, as you can see on the screen, then you say ein man. Then the ein will not take anything. You will not add anything to the end. But if you are referring to a woman, or let's say the noun you are referring to is feminine, you are going to add e to the ein, then it will be eine. So maybe eine Tür, which is a door, or eine Frau, which is a woman. So the articles takes what? Takes endings. Now, for the possessive adjectives. So for the possessive adjectives, so I'll give only one, which is mine, right? M-R-E-I-N. So mine. In English is what? My, right? So we use it to refer to something that the thing belongs to someone or it belongs to you. So the possessive adjectives also take endings. So if you want to say my husband or my man, then you say mine man. So the mine will not take any endings. But if you are referring to a feminine noun, then you have to add e to it by saying meine. So you are forced to say meine Frau, or the meine Tür, or the any noun that you use which is feminine. So possessives, adjectives takes endings. And of course, some of you maybe on your own, you will see that sometimes it changes to minen, miner, minem. Those ones is down there. When I get there, I'll tell you why it is like that. And then we come to adjectives. We come to adjectives. So the adjectives in German also takes endings. So it's like in French, we have masculine and feminine. So in German also, it takes what? Endings. But adjectives in English, if you are saying a beautiful house, you say a beautiful woman. The beautiful, you never add anything to it. But in German, it's not like that. So it depends on the noun you are referring to. So if you are referring to a masculine noun, for instance, I have here eine neue Computer. So the adjective itself is neu. So because I'm referring to computer, which is a masculine noun, I'll say eine neue Computer. And feminine noun, I'll say eine neue Frau. So E will be added to the adjective neu. And then house, neuter noun, which is das Haus, I'll say ein neues Haus. So you see that the adjectives, depending the noun you are relating it to, it has to take endings. And of course, in different cases, you see that to change to neuen and things. Now, we come to cases. So cases is also one of the grammatical features that push people away not to learn this language. But as I said earlier, if you approach the language step by step, by following the rules, by knowing the articles with its noun, you will not find this difficult. And depending on whosoever is teaching you, I know you can go online and use apps. You can use what you call YouTubes and things. But when you are using those things online, you have to be very careful because it's not all the apps that are correct. It's not all the things that are on YouTube or on Google that are correct. So let's say whatever I'm teaching you today, you can also start saying something and put it online like that. And then I'll go and search it and then I'll be using it. So the cases, we have them, they are four. So we have nominative case, we have accusative case, we have a dative case, we have genitive case. So this case, we use them by referring to a noun in a sentence, whether the noun are the functions of the word you are referring to, that's the noun, is a noun or is a subject. And then the accusative case, it means that the noun or the pronoun is playing the role of what? A direct object. And then when you go to dative case also, the function there is indirect objects. And then you go to genitive case, it's just telling you how to use two nouns together. For instance, the father of my mother. So mostly the nominative case is the easiest. The accusative is just the masculine that will change. And then the dative, everywhere, all the article will change. The genitive, the same thing. But we have some tips that can help you with the accusative and the dative. That is, it could be you are using a preposition or you are using a verb. So if you learn it, then you will not find any trouble. And then we come to word order. So as a beginner or as a language learner, you'll be having difficulties in how to arrange words or word in a sentence, where to put the subject, the verb, and then the complements or the objects. You'll be having those challenges. But if we start the class, you'll be able to do what? To know this. So one of the things is it depends on the position of the verb. So the position of the verb can take the second position. So for instance, we have a hat zwei breeder. So hat, which is the verb, or the infinitive is what? Haben. So er hat. So you see that the verb is in the second position. And then in German, we have more flexibilities of starting a sentence or maybe using a sentence, and sometimes I like it that way. But that kind of flexibility, if you try to compare it to the English structure, it doesn't make sense. And then when you look at it, you want to translate it, you'll find it difficult to translate because of the way they start a sentence. So they can decide to start a sentence with something else, but the verb will still come to the second position. So morgen fahre ich nach Deutschland. So I am going to Germany tomorrow. But if you look at a sentence, they start it with what? Tomorrow. So tomorrow, going I to Germany. That is what they are saying. But that kind of flexibility is in German, but in English, you might find it difficult. We don't have it like that. So that is the word order. I'm not saying this is all. We have it into details, but we are not in class today. And then point 7, we have tenses. So here, the same way that we have the present tense, the past tense, future tense in English or another language, we have the same thing in German, but here I'll talk about only present tense. So now, in present tense, we know that in English, we have just simple present tense, and then we have present continuous, where we'll say that the verb, you have to add what? ing form. So I work at Asla, and then I am working. Two sentences in what? In English. So I am working, present continuous tense, and then I work at Asla, present tense. Now, in German, we have only one present tense. We don't have two. So what I mean that in writing or in speaking, you only use the present tense if you are comparing it into English. That is, I work. So for instance, ich arbeite. I work. So depending on the action or whatever you are doing at that particular moment, the German will tell you that ich arbeite. So it could be that he or she is telling you, I am working or I work. So I have two examples here, ich arbeite and then ich arbeite bei Asla. So if you ask me, was machen Sie, what are you doing? Right now, I can tell you that, okay, ich arbeite. So if you are translating into English, you need to use present continuous. So you see that we use to be plus what? ing with the base verb in English. So if you learn how to conjugate to be in German, for instance, I am, which is ich bin, don't ever go and try to bring this present continuous tense into the German by saying either ich bin arbeiten or ich bin arbeite. I know what I'm talking about. Students, they used to do that. So it depends on the contents. Only one present tense. So finally, before I open the floor for questions and any other thing contribution, German is a systematic language which we all have to approach uh, step by step by following what the rules. Now, someone might also ask, what can you do and what you cannot do as a language learner, whether for English or for any other language. But that is not for today's section. If it happened that you start the class, as the class is going on, I can tell you what you are not supposed. I have told you one of them already. That is not. Don't be trying to use. Don't use the Google Translator. As a beginner, you want to say something, then you go and put the thing in the Google Translator. Then the Google will tell you it is a machine. One day, the machine will lie to you. And two, the machine will not tell you why the verb is positioned here, why the noun, the article is like this. It will not tell you those things. So we don't encourage you to do that. So I think what I have said here, it will help someone to have a good start for the German class. Thank you for your attention. And then the platform is open for questions, and my partners or my colleagues are here. If they have contribution to make, the platform is open. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the wonderful session. Would leave the floor open. Am I audible? We'll leave the floor open for questions now, in case you do have any. Feel free to also drop it in the chat in case you don't want to speak. Okay, have you enjoyed this session so far? If we don't have questions, what have you taken out of the session? Has it been awesome? Have you learned something new? What can you say now? Maybe myself and the teacher can just quickly say some things in German, perhaps that might also inspire you. Können wir ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen, vielleicht?
Bitte?
Können wir Deutsch sprechen?
Okay, ja, ich kann mich vorstellen. Ich
Okay.
heiße Kamala Sewanu.
Ja,
Ich bin 35 Jahre alt. Ich komme aus Ghana und wohne in Medina Estate. Ich spreche in Deutsch. Ich bin Übersetzer von Beruf. Ich mag lesen oder meine Hobbys sind lesen und kochen, ja, kochen.
was kochst du gerne?
Bitte?
Was kochst du gerne?
Ich koche oder Banku gern. Können Sie Banku oder Fufu? Sie sind Ghanaier. Sind Sie Ghanaier? Ja? Ich kann Ihnen nicht zuhören.
Und jetzt können Sie mich hören?
Hallo?
Können Sie mich hören?
Ja, ein bisschen, ein bisschen.
Okay.
Können Sie lauter sprechen?
Können Sie mich hören?
Ja, ja, ja.
Okay. Ich habe gesagt, dass ich Fufu und Banku Kenke kenne. Ich habe
Okay,
auch vielmals diese Essen
gegessen.
gegessen, ja.
In Ghana oder in Deutschland?
In Ghana,
Okay, okay,
auch in Deutschland.
okay. In Ordnung.
Vielen Dank. So, if you like to speak the way myself and the teacher is speaking, we this an
Oh,
opportunity.
I can't hardly hear you. I don't know if other people are having the same issues, but I'm having that issue here.
Can everyone hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, now it's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's okay. Okay now.
So, so once again, you have to have stayed till the end of today's session. If you've registered for this session, okay, if you've registered for this session, expect to receive two free books from us. One is basically going to be tips on how to learn German. Someone was asking about learning German using an app. You know, you will receive an ebook if you register for this session. You will receive an ebook that gives you tips on how you can learn German on your own and in the classroom. Basically, general tips on how to learn German. Then the second ebook is mainly directed to those who want to um, pursue tech job opportunities in Germany. Like I said at the beginning of this session, that this is a mixed audience. We have those who are interested in pursuing nursing
I
career.
can't hear you. I
And then
can't hear you.
you can't hear me.
I
Yes, I
can hear
can't hear
you,
you.
but maybe the rest.
Please kindly indicate if you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
I can't hear you now.
Please, there are some background noise.
But
Background
we
noise.
should just manage like that, and then yeah, yeah. It could be the device that he's using, so it's okay. But I can hear you when you are speaking. So
Okay, is it better now? Can you hear me now?
yes, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, me too. I can hear you.
Okay. Um, I'll try to be a bit more audible. So I was saying that we would be sending out some two free ebooks that gives you tips on how to learn German for those who stayed till the end of the session, and if you've also registered for this session today. In addition to that, we'll be having um, another session tomorrow for those who are interested in pursuing tech career in Germany. Um, there are two audiences. It's a mixed audience here, rather. You know, like I said from the beginning, We have those who are interested in pursuing tech career, and then we have those who are interested in pursuing nursing career. For those who are interested in pursuing nursing career, we have an info session that starts in about 1 hour 15 minutes from now, where we'll be talking about what you need to do to get a nursing job in Germany, either as a professional or as a trainee. So if you fall in that category, please join us in about 1 hour 15 minutes, or 1 hour, yeah, 1 hour 15 minutes, I think. That's 3 p.m. Um, Central European Time, German time. That will be 1 p.m. GMT, that's Ghana time, and 2 p.m. WAT. And then I think that should be 5 p.m. EAT for those joining from East Africa. Mm. Um, then tomorrow there will be an info session dedicated for those who are interested in pursuing tech career. These are mainly for young women in tech, and is um, through a program called German for Girls in Tech. So if you join through that program, we'll be having an info session basically dedicated in providing you all the necessary information you need to know about how to apply for tech jobs in Germany as a woman who has tech skills. So if you've applied for that to join this session, please don't forget to join the info session tomorrow. To be happening from 5 p.m. CET, um, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. I think Ghana time for if you join from Ghana, and then I think that will be 7 p.m. EAT for those joining from East Africa, and then 4 p.m. WAT those joining from I think Nigeria. So these are critical information that will be passing across. And of course, just like our teacher did say, whatever you want to pursue in Germany, German is key. You know, if you like to speak German just the way we are doing, you have to go from A1 to B1, B2, most especially for those interested in nursing and tech jobs. And for tech jobs, you can get opportunities with B1 level. Sometimes you may be lucky, can get A2, but usually is within the spectrum of B1 to C1 for companies who are looking at hiring. For nurses, for nurses, you can't go below B1 for nurses, just like our teacher said earlier. So bottom line is the key to any opportunities in Germany is to master or know the language. So we want to invite you. The next class or session will be starting May 26th. So if you would like to join the next training session to start learning German from scratch, or maybe freshen up your German, May 26th is a date you should have in mind because that's when the next session will be starting. So we have like 1 month for you to plan and prepare yourself. Exactly 1 month because today is April 26th. So you have exactly 1 month to plan for the classes that will be starting in May. Yeah, so I think someone is raising their hands. Amarachi, please go ahead to ask your question.
Alright, so I have some couple of questions. I don't know, maybe I've missed some parts. Um, based on the okay, will you provide the job offer or a link for us to be applying for those jobs? Do you get my question? I can't tell you if you are speaking.
Ja, Herr Solomon, wir können Ihnen nicht zuhören.
Und jetzt können Sie mich jetzt hören?
Nein, nein, nein. Können Sie ein bisschen lauter sprechen?
Okay, und können Sie mich hören?
Ja, ein bisschen, ein bisschen.
Jetzt spreche ich lauter.
Okay,
Können
ja,
Sie mich
ja,
jetzt hören?
ja.
Okay, Amarashi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Okay, so I was saying, which are you interested in? Is it nursing or tech?
I- In tech, in tech.
Okay, so there's an info session dedicated to that tomorrow. So I'm sure you registered for it. So kindly join that session tomorrow by 5 p.m. CET, 4 p.m. WAT. I guess I want to believe you are based in Nigeria, so that will be 4 p.m. WAT. Yeah.
All right,
So that session, every question you have will be answered in that session.
all right. Thank you.
All right.
So, one more question. Um, if someone wants to enroll in the German training, can the person begin at any level?
I Yes, you can, but most times we would do what we call Einstufungstest to
Okay.
determine which level you can start from. Um, I think I'll leave that to our teacher to also throw more light on, but usually um, you can start from any level, but to determine that you do Einstufungstest. That is like a test to determine your level, basically. So I'll leave our teacher
All right,
to
that's
throw more light on that if he has anything to add to that. Would you like to add something to that?
And please, are you referring to me, right?
Yes, she was
Yes.
saying that.
So, yeah, you are free to join at any level, but as Mr. Solomon rightly said, you have to be tested, right? Because it could be that you learn on your own through some apps or online resources. So we have to assess you to be able to know that you are in A1 or you are in B1 or you are in A2. If not, I know some institution because they are into money, they will not do that for you. So if you come, you said you are in class 3, that is B1, they just accept you and you pay. And at the end of the day, you waste your money. So what he said, rightly, you have to be tested so that we'll tell you that okay, you are in this class, and then you take it from there.
all
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Mm.
How
Right.
about the
So
training fee? Training fee is how much? I don't know if that has been answered.
say that again. I didn't hear you, Marachi.
I said training fee. How much is the training fee?
I'm not hearing you clearly. Your audio is not. What's
Oh,
the question again?
the training fee. Training fee. Amount to pay.
Yes. Is it for the training fee for the program covers? It depends on what exactly like I said earlier, if you are coming in to just do the language or if you are coming in for a program. So, for instance, the German for Girls in Tech program has its own, um, you know, cost implication, which covers every other thing aside from the language. So, if you're coming for the language alone, then there's the training for the language itself is separate. But if you are coming for the program itself, then it covers every other thing for the program. So for the program, the fee for the program in itself usually for each level, because most things that the language the training the program covers is mainly the language. So we focus more on the language, while other things more or less comes like an additional advantage. For instance, preparing for an interview, you have an opportunity to, get a mentor, networking opportunities, and as well invitation to community events, online forums, you know, prepare you for interview simulation, prepare your motivation letter. So there are a whole lot of other things that we support you with. But if it's just for the language alone, is the pricing is different. But for that, for the General for Girls in Tech program, for the A1 and A2 level, the pricing starts from 399 euros per level. So it means for A1, 399 euros, A2, 399 euros, then B1 is 429 euros, and then B2 is 499 euros. Those are the prices, which covers everything aside from the language. I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank
Does it answer your question, Amachi?
Yes, yes, you are. Thank you.
Right. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Solomon, Mr. Solomon, please, so the price you have mentioned to them, uh, does that include the exam fee? You know, for instance, in Ghana here, yes, in Ghana here, if you are going to write the exam, you have to pay a fee to Goethe Institute. So I don't know whether it's part of them. Maybe if you
No,
forget,
no,
then
it
remind them.
doesn't. It doesn't include the exam fee.
Pardon?
It doesn't. It does not include the exam fee.
Okay, okay. So that they will be on the safer side. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Is there any other question or any comments, contribution from anyone? Because we have just 1 minute to end the session. This session was supposed to last for 2 hours, and I think it's been a productive one. Thanks to everyone who have joined, and thank you so much to our teacher. He has done a very great job. I believe those of us who will be joining the classes would see more of him, and get to enjoy his classes. Starting from May 26th. So, um, if you are for the nursing program, we would want to say we would see you in 1 hour. Um, Please join using the same link for the info session for those who are interested in nursing opportunity. We'll be here, same link, same place, in 1 hour. So no matter where you are, whether you're in Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, anywhere, it's just in 1 hour. We'll be here. So 3 p.m. CET, 2 p.m. WAT, 1 p.m. GMT, that's Ghana time. I think 5 p.m. EAT for those in Kenya. So um, yeah, I would say thanks for joining, and see you in 1 hour for those for the nursing program, and those for the women for the tech opportunities. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. CET, 7 p.m. EAT, 4 p.m. WAT, and 3 p.m. GMT in Ghana time. Yeah. Anything else from you, sir?
Pardon?
Anything else from you, sir?
No, as I said, if you have to translate any documents for translation, that need to be certified by a certified translator, or an organizations, you can pass through my co-worker or partner, Mr. Solomon, whether being German, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, Chinese, will be able to do that for you. So that is all that I have. And we are hoping to see you soon in the next section. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining, and see you soon. And see you tomorrow as well for those joining tomorrow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
No,
be down here.
have it down and yeah, have it down and cheers. Hi, Garune.
as a director now. So we I I know you are doing ah somebody dey sack wrong way. No, 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 no. This one if he was taking money
Francis, can you submit it?
Check now.
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me, please?
Hello.
Hello, good day, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Am I audible? Hello? Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
All right. So
Can hear
this
you.
session has this session has ended.
It doesn't yes.
Can you hear me, please? I say yes.
So yes. It is yes.
Yes.
So it is yes. So the woman.
You know now from your phone number they go know.
Thank you for joining. Which of this session um, are you joining for? Is it the session for nursing, the info session on nursing? Can you hear me?
Not really clear. Okay. Come on here and Zoom now to be better.
Just a minute. I'll send it in the chat.
The name of the exam is it aptitude test?
Okay. Did you see it?
I just thought yes, it's architecture. I think any engineering.
In the you can't see school. Is there architecture in the school? Okay, man, some of them got that on the list.
Who is this again?
Please kindly check your charts. Kindly check the charts, please. Kindly check the charts, please.
So correct.
Alright.
Okay.
Oh,
That's my first question. Studying again. Okay, I think it's part of studying. One of that. I'm a credit fluent. One is language of
oh.
instruction. Then also requires previous certificate
Mm-hmm.
requires 10 weeks internship.
Mm.
What is 10 weeks internship?
As you're doing now, they give you internship now.
That can be asked as well.
Mm-hmm.
Skill registration is the available source of new work.
The education is it for people coming in this
Enter.
winter. In the language, I say no winter.
Not this summer that is hard to
Is that what I do and then exam? What are your this thing? Mm-hmm.
if I don't come this year, that you know to stay here for that long.
Mm. All of this man no no sense.
That one is different
It's not
now.
different.
But
No,
then now you know how to do this one now.
it's not different. Let's take our exam first. Call them, send this interview. That if you find out this thing, what are the things that they need? See now, so you have access to this information. Yeah. But anyway, uh-huh. If you intensively, now check the intensity, what they say under that intensity. Class of bachelor degree program in architecture. This internship can be divided into individual periods and must be completed by September 30th, no later than the third semester. Ideally, part of the internship should be completed before the start of the program. Internship is divided into three years and often that of architectural and planning offices. So I think we're supposed to do the internship before we come. The of architecture program of AG starting in Uni. Okay, this one is for last year. People next year is going to start the this one that they're showing is